hold.
We're not gonna make it.
We'll make it.
Pull up! Pull up! You did that on purpose, didn't you?
We need to get to the bridge. From there, we can use the captain's neural implants to initiate an overload of the ship's fusion engines. The explosion should damage enough systems below it to destroy the ring.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the last level of Halo 1 Anniversary. So we are back aboard the Pillar of Autumn on the Maw. I realize I've never actually talked about the Pillar of Autumn herself. So let's do that. The Pillar of Autumn is a Halcyon-class light cruiser of the UNSC Navy. Considered somewhat ordinary by the time of their introduction in the early 26th century, many of these cruisers only served a couple of years before being decommissioned and put into mothballs near Europa. However, as combat losses with the Covenant continued to mount over more than 2 decades of warfare, these cruisers were refitted and recommissioned. The Halcyon-class light cruisers were built by Ray's McLeese shipyards and started entering service in 2510. Physically, they are 3,841 feet long and have a mass of over 11 million tons. Their normal armament is one 56A2D4 magnetic accelerator cannon, also known as a MAC gun, 4 Mark 33 Spitfire naval coil gun batteries, 4 M66 Sentry autocannon turrets, 20 M58 Archer missile pods, 40 M810 Helix or M910 Rampart point defense guns. The Pillar of Autumn herself was extensively refitted for Operation Red Flag so as to be almost unrecognizable. She had refitted titanium A armor plating, which actually resulted in a substantial mass and volume saving. Her normal fusion drive was replaced with a model with greater thrust. Her MAC gun was fitted with rapid cycling coils and prototype capacitors to allow for increased and longer sustained firing. Additional M58 Archer missile pods were fitted. Her drop pod and hangar bays were expanded, somewhat at the expense of long-term accommodations. Her point defense software was updated, and she had an Omega pattern bridge with a Tier 3 data core installed. All in all, these changes to the Pillar of Autumn would serve as a template for the new class of Autumn heavy cruisers that are based on this.
The bridge. We made it. Let's get to work.
Some of the remaining Halcyon-class light cruiser hulls would be refitted and recommissioned as the initial ships of this new class.
I need you to upgrade the control systems. The terminal is located next to the main view screen.
Alright, we are on the bridge.
I leave home for a few days and look what happens. This won't take long. There. That should give us enough time to make it to a lifeboat and put some distance between ourselves and Halo before the detonation.
I'm afraid that's out of the question, really.
Oh, hell.
Ridiculous! That you would imbue a warship's AI with such a wealth of knowledge? Weren't you worried it might be captured? Or destroyed?
He's in my data arrays, a local tap.
You can't imagine how exciting this is! To have a record of all of our lost time! Human history, isn't it? Fascinating. Oh, how I will enjoy every moment of its categorization! To think that you would destroy this installation as well as this record! I am shocked. Almost too shocked for words.
He stopped the self-destruct sequence.
Why do you continue to fight us, Reclaimer? You cannot win! Give us the construct, and I will endeavor to make your death relatively painless and...
At least I still have control over the comm channels.
Where is he?
I'm detecting taps throughout the ship. Sentinels, most likely. As for the monitor, he's in engineering. He must be trying to take the core offline. Even if I could get the countdown restarted, I don't know what to do.
How much firepower would you need to crack one of the engine's shields?
Not much. A well-placed grenade, perhaps, but why? Okay, I'm coming with you. Chief, sentinels!
Alright, let's get rid of these guys before we move on.
The ship was heavily damaged when it crashed. Head to the cryo chamber. We should be able to get to the engine room through there.
Of course, the Pillar of Autumn itself would become the most famous of the Halcyon-class cruisers, following her evacuation from Reach and the subsequent discovery of the Halo Ring. Not to mention the fact that we're about to destroy her. Anyway, moving on. I don't know if I would really use a fragmentation grenade to crack one of the engine shields. I mean, it's an anti-personnel grenade, not a shaped charge. So I don't know what they're thinking. Of course, in video game and movie land, you know, any explosive is the ultimate destructive power. Come on. You can have a grenade. Oh, this part of the ship doesn't look too beat up. Nice, well-placed grenade right there. Can do some damage. Alright, we're about to enter the cryo bay, and we are coming up to the terminal for this mission. You know, I realize I've never talked about the Sentinels, but I gotta save something for the next playthrough, right? Halo 2. In fact, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm not even sure I'll have a ton to talk about in Halo 2. Although I'll spend a lot of time talking about the Covenant and their background and organization and religious zealotry. Grenade exploded in my face parts. Alright, there we go. Got a checkpoint. The terminal is right here. I think I'm going to take care of these Sentinels first. We have two Spartan. One is us. The other is actually Petty Officer Linda 058, a member of Blue Team, which John 117 is a part of.
civilization. 100,000 years of careful maintenance and diligence. 100,000 years protecting the galaxy's future. 100,000 years spent fearing that our sacrifices, my sacrifice, was in vain. And 16 hours after I finally made contact. This so-called reclaimer decides to blow it all up. Oh, I am not pleased. Just as I finally discovered that our plan to save the galaxy succeeded, the ancient enemy is unleashed once more. Why these reclaimers refuse to follow protocol is quite mystifying. Destroy my installation, will they? I shall renew efforts to make contact with the other rings immediately. This covenant may be useful to me, although I don't think they fully understand what they claim to seek. Still, it makes no difference to me what they believe, as long as they do what must be done. I sound like her. Oh, but what I would not give to have even a single company of Prometheans here right now. Oh, they would most certainly restore order with their trademark lethality. Although, that would mean he would have to be here too. And without the librarian around to temper his rage, well, these reclaimers might almost prefer the flood.
Alrighty. Well, it would seem to imply that the Pillar of Autumn was carrying both John and Linda, but Linda is nowhere to be found. There are, in fact, other Spartans still alive, although in the original treatment of this game, John 117 was the very last one. I don't have a ton to say about the terminal. I mean, 343 Guilty Spark just vents about losing the Halo ring to the Reclaimer, and he does mention the possibility of using the Covenant and their religious zealism to accomplish his goals. He also mentions he would like a company of Prometheans, and how he's beginning to sound like her, which I presume means the Librarian, but of course the Librarian, as well as the Prometheans, will feature in Halo 4. So we'll get to that when we get to that. Again, this whole, the terminals in the Anniversary Edition kind of have quite a bit of spoilers for the overall Halo lore and everything that were not really fleshed out in this game. More hunters. They can take grenades. Grenades galore. Need to find our way to the armory, which is this way. Where are we going now? Shopping. Need some guns. Lots of guns. First we gotta take care of these invisible flood right here. Obviously took over some Spec Ops elites. Alright. Let's grab ourselves a rocket launcher. Light fuse and run away. We shall do that.
Engine room located. We're here. Alert! The monitor has disabled all command access. We can't restart the countdown. The only remaining option is to detonate the ship's fusion reactors. That should do enough damage to destroy Halo. Don't worry, I have access to all of the reactor schematics and procedures. I'll walk you through it. First, we need to pull back the exhaust couplings. That will expose a shaft that leads to the primary fusion drive.
Okay, it's that simple, huh? Just shut the area down. Oh, just shut it down. It's that simple. Just shut the area down, huh?
Con complete. We have a straight shot into the fusion reactor. We need a catalyst explosion to destabilize the magnetic containment field surrounding the fusion cell. Use an explosive. I recommend a grenade or rocket. If you run out of explosives, there is an armory station located near the engine room's entrance. Analyzing. Fusion reactor number 1 destabilized. Use explosives on the other 3 reactors. That should be enough for the wildcat explosion of the engines.
I'm having some difficulties jumping back onto the platforms here. Apparently that first one I shot, the louvers were not open, so I guess it doesn't matter, does it? Alright, number 3. Open wide.
Keep it up. Only one more fusion reactor to go.
Ooh, I fell down. Alright, let's grab this last one here. Then we will get out of Dodge. Got it.
That did it. The engine's gone critical. Based on the current rate of decay, we should have 15 minutes to get off the ship. We don't have much time. We should move outside and signal for evac. Accessing schematics. There's a service lift at the top of the engine. It leads to a Class 7 service corridor that runs along the ship's dorsal structure. Hurry!
Alright, I got a little turned around here. I was headed in the right direction. Yes, it is over here. I just did not make a right turn right here. Alright. Boom. That elite we just killed in the elevator is named Zuka Zamami. He's a special operations officer, and he's actually been tracking you throughout the story. He actually appears in the first mission aboard the Autumn when it's boarded.
Cortana to Echo 419. Come in, Echo 419. Roger, Cortana. I read 555. The Pillar of Autumn's engines are going critical, Bowhammer. Request immediate extraction. Approach the crash site and be ready to pick us up at External Access Junction 4C as soon as you get my signal. Affirmative. Echo 419 going on station. Echo 419 to Cortana. Things are getting noisy down there. Everything okay? Negative. We have a wildcat destabilization of the ship's fusion core. The engines must have sustained more damage than we thought.
Analyzing. We have 6 minutes before the fusion drives detonate. We need to evac now! Activating final countdown timer. When it reaches 0, the engine will detonate. The explosion will generate a temperature of almost 100 million degrees. Don't be here when it blows.
Alright. Well, Zuka Zamami furthermore sets a trap for you in a silent cartographer mission in the security room structure. And of course, finally he appears here. Now, he's never really named in the game itself, but he is a character in the novelization of this game titled The Flood, written by William Dietz. But, of course, in the original game, he's just another nameless elite. The skull for this mission is coming up, but annoyingly, of course, there's no checkpoint in the Warthog run here. It took me a couple of tries to do this and what I've shown right here is just my successful runs. So that's why there's kind of a funny jump there right before we jump into the Warthog. The problem, of course, is not the run itself, nor the time constraint, because, again, we're playing on easy, and We have ample time and we're not fighting anything here, we're just driving. The tricky part is getting the skull. Now when we get to the part where Foehammer is going to pick us up, we need to back the Warthog up to this pipe, get out of the Warthog without falling to our death, and then jump onto the Gatling gun on back, and then onto the pipe. Now, as you'll see here in a couple minutes, this, like I said, this is my successful attempt at getting it. So I get out and I melee the Warthog a few times to get it close enough to the pipe. And yes, you do need to actually back the Warthog up, at least if you're playing on solo, because you need to jump up onto the gun, which will give you enough height to jump onto the pipe. Otherwise, you're not going to make the jump from, if you do it from like the front of the Warthog.
Cortana to Echo 419. Request extraction now, on the double. Affirmative, Cortana. Foehammer inbound.
Alright, here we go. So it's this pipe up
Stop.
here on the
This is where
right-hand
Foehammer is
side.
coming to pick us up. Hold position here.
We're gonna back right up to it.
Cortana to Echo 419. 2 Covenant Banshees are approaching on your 6. Evade. Say again, evade. I'm hit. Mayday.
And you have to make sure you get out without falling to your death. Back it up, melee it, jump onto the gun,
Echo
and then jump
419.
up onto this pipe.
She's gone. Calculating alternate escape route. Ship's inventory shows 1 longsword fighter is still docked in Launch Bay 7. If we move now, we can make it.
Alright, well we got the Grunt birthday party skull. When activated, when you shoot grunts in the head, they will spray confetti and make a little cheering noise. Alright, well let's book it. We got 1 click to go. Run over a few elites while we're at it.
Chief, up ahead there's a gap in the trench. At top speed, we should be able to clear it.
And we just made it, huh? Oh yeah.
That's the ship! Move! We need to get aboard now!
Yikes. Shielded elites. And flood.
We're cutting it close.
And we're coming up to one thing I don't like about this cutscene. Yeah, there is now sound in it.
Shut them down, we'll need them later.
Well, it's just totally unrealistic. The sound doesn't travel in space. Like 0 out of 10. Oh, my life is ruined. But yeah, it's weird.
Fancy a look?
Because in the original, this cutscene is silent, essentially, except for the dialogue. Actually, I think the silence adds more impact, if you might say. But no, they had to add, noise to it now. Ugh.
Did anyone else make it?
Scanning. Just dust and echoes. We're all that's left. We did what we had to do for Earth. An entire Covenant armada obliterated, and the Flood. We had no choice. Halo, it's finished.
No. I think we're just getting started.
Alright, folks. Well, that was Halo 1 Anniversary Edition. Well, let me give my real quick review. I'm sure you can figure out that I am not much of a fan of the Anniversary Edition. While basically the graphical update does make it look nicer, especially in high definition and all that, but at the same time, it ruins a lot of the kind of pulpy graphical design of the original Halo Combat Evolved. And at times, I think because they changed the lighting engine, it's way too bright in certain areas. It removes a lot of the ambiance of certain places. And, it doesn't fundamentally change the gameplay or the story or anything like that, but it's really all it is a graphical update. And in some ways, it just takes away a lot of what made Halo look the way it did. So yeah, at least for the original Combat Evolved, I'm very much a fan of the look of the original game. Partially because that's just the effect of nostalgia, me looking through nostalgia colored glasses, because that's how I played it way back in the day. So, I mean, I have a definite bias there, but, I just don't think the Anniversary graphical update does it really any major favors, in a way. It's not the worst remake I've ever seen. We've done Crisis Remastered, but, yeah, it's not my favorite either. Same thing, same story, same game, just a so-so graphical update. But whatever, we got our way through it. So up next, we'll be doing Halo 2 twice again. Once on the regular version as it was released, and once again on the Anniversary Edition. And again, I plan to do these in the order of their release. So that's how it's gonna be. That's all I have to say, so see you for the next Halo game.